barbershop conversation, guys. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. So obviously, that decision got
now turn left onto West 80th
got
Street.
the world all up in his ears. Let me get organized real quick so I can be efficient. Let's cut them both on. And I should have gave you guys a tour where I was. I think I showed you the house before, but I got some new subscribers. My business partner got a $3 million mansion. Inspired the hell out of y'all. His neighbors is the Bus family that owns the Lakers. and Noah Jones. How funny, if you live in LA, you definitely know who Noah Jones is. He's that pastor. They got that big church, I believe, out in Carson or Gardena or something like that. But maybe it'll just inspire y'all.
In 500 feet, enter the roundabout and take the second exit.
So I'm gonna tell you my reaction, and then I'll get into my breakdown. I was I thought the fight was just over. When they said 116, 112, I was like,
now enter the roundabout and take the second exit.
and I just said, oh, he's gonna win by unanimous decision. And then when they said and knew, I was like, holy shit. Because at face value, I'll get into my breakdown now. At face value, it looked like Charlo's pressure was the difference in the fight. You know, I thought the first 4 rounds, I thought they were pick'em rounds. I wasn't scoring the fight. I wasn't scoring the fight. And I'll tell you guys why I wasn't scoring the fight. Because I just assumed that Tony Harrison was going to fade in the second half of the fight, as he did in his last 4 fights. So I just
in 500 feet turn left onto Lincoln Boulevard.
So I just assumed that that's what he was going to do, and I didn't score. I literally didn't score the fight at all. I know where I'm at now, and so I just didn't do it. But the second half of the fight, round 3 or round 4, I looked at some of my boys and I said, you know what? He's conserving his energy for the second half of the fight. And in the second half of the fight, I honestly thought, in my humble opinion, I thought he was going to make a great impression, start throwing combinations, start leading the fight, you know. He was going to his counter game, I thought Harrison was. And I thought that's what he was going to do. And he never did it. Rounds 10, 11, and 12, I didn't think Harrison did enough. Did he have a crisp jab? There was one jab in that fight, and you guys know exactly what jab I'm talking about if you watch it from start to finish. It was probably the best jab you've seen this year. You know what I mean? It was crisp. It was perfect. It was strong. And I was like, oh, shit. He about to get it going. And it was like hit or miss. But what I did notice in the second half of the fight was Charlo ineffective aggression. I did notice he was missing a lot of punches. Charlo is not really good on the infighting per se. You know, like he fights from range. I did notice that. I also noticed that he winds up a lot. He winds up a lot and loads up on his punches, which we all notice in the Austin Trout fight. But what I will say about Charlo is the motherfucker's in shape. I mean, when I say, I mean elite shape. Not none of this, I'm in shape for a fight. He is in elite shape. And like, I want to know what type of workouts he does. I was telling my boys, I genuinely want to know what type of workouts that he does, because I want to adapt some of that in my workout regimen. And I just thought that Charlo at face value won the fight 8-4. The first 4 rounds I thought was anybody's rounds. I genuinely thought, but the close rounds, you give them to the champ. I wasn't scoring it because I thought Harrison was going to fade in the second half of the fight. I just literally assumed, and it didn't happen. So I didn't see the scorecards. I didn't check my email yet. They typically email them to me right after the fight. So I'll look at them tomorrow morning and I'll watch the fight and see what the rounds I like to see the 3 rounds that the 3 judges agree on, and see what they see, but it was a unanimous decision. All 3 judges had them winning, and I was like, wow, that threw me in a loop because I think literally that was a kind of fight where if you had Harrison win, I don't think 3 people had him winning, I had Charlo winning. I literally had Charlo. Nothing in me had Harrison winning because he lost the last 3 rounds. I agree. By the way, Boom Boom Mancini, they need to get rid of him. He looks terrible. Not only, I'm not being disrespectful, but just follow me. Not only does he look terrible on camera, like, it doesn't come out right for me. I actually enjoyed Goosen a little bit. I need to hear him more to get acclimated to his voice. But I like the fact that Lennox Lewis talk more. They obviously was rooting for the home fighters. You definitely can see that they were leaning more towards Charlo to win the fight. It was very apparent. But I believe it'll be an immediate rematch. I thought Harrison could have landed that jab anytime he wanted. He rarely threw a double jab, which I thought was his detriment. I thought he should have threw double jabs. I thought he had an auto. He was on auto whenever Charlo, I forget, was it his hook or something? He immediately came back. The right hand. Whenever he caught the right hand, he would shoot his right hand. And that was on, and I thought Charlo picked up on that, and he tried to change levels. Jared Hurd, not Jared Hurd, I'll get to that in a second maybe. He's kind of too wound up. Jermell Charlo. Like, he's too wound up to be a counterpuncher. He's too tight, he's too much in his little pocket, and I think that's going to hinder him coming down the line. I think that he's going to have some problems later on in his career because he's not a natural counterpuncher. He's a lead, and as you get older, you lose that alpha dog and the lack of completeness in your game will be a detriment down the line. And I watched these fights and I think, like, damn, I know y'all don't want to hear this. Y'all tired of hearing this about how great Floyd Mayweather is. Like, every time I watch these fights, I'm like, Floyd is just on another level as it relates to boxing, man. He's just, like, for real, he's special. Floyd would have made the easiest adjustment in that fight. Easiest adjustment. Throw, punch it. Honestly, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4. Like, that's all you had to do on Harrison, because he was catching. He was just catching. You just had to change up your combination patterns, And all you had to do, honestly, was keep Harrison busy because he was, I would say 9, 10 out of those 12 rounds, he wanted to be the counterpuncher, and all you got to do is keep him busy. If you don't get to your 4th punch, you got him. Like, if you don't fall in love with yourself like Amir Khan, I think you'll catch him. And Jermell Charlo never tried. Here's where he really was deficient at. He never tried to get inside Harrison's jab. It is your job as a fighter to get inside a man's jab. It is your job and responsibility to get inside the man's jab. And is this the blueprint for Mikey Garcia to defeat Errol Spence? They fight pretty similar. Errol is definitely way more athletic, way more of a natural, more boxerish. You know, so I can't answer that question. But what I can say is Jermell Charlo is a work in progress. I thought he won the fight. You know, I thought I genuinely thought his effective aggressiveness was the difference in the fight. That's just what I thought. He landed the power punches. I'm gonna rewatch the fight. I TiVo'd it at home, so I'm gonna rewatch the fight at some point tomorrow. But that's my breakdown of the fight. I'm gonna count the rounds. I'm definitely gonna count the rounds because I 116, 112. What is that? 8-4? 116, 112. Yeah, that's 8-4. Damn. Wow, with no knockdowns. I didn't see that, but I'll rewatch the fight. And it's funny, they had it the other way, 117, 111. Wow. Larry Hazard Sr. had it 117, 111. Tell me what you guys thought in the comment section of the entire broadcast. You know, if I can give them, Fox, a word of advice or a word of encouragement or advice, make it more natural. I think your staff is young enough. I think PBC is cool enough where they can go into the locker rooms and go into the fan. See, you don't necessarily have to interview the corner. I think PBC is cool enough where you can interview a Deontay Wilder for 50 seconds in between the fight. How do you have it? Especially in these tight fights, how do you have it? Where you have it going? You know, maybe it's pre-recorded. You know, maybe you ask them in between round 6 and round 7 and you do it so it's not live. You know what I mean? I think they're cool enough. I think that's where you need to give the fans more than HBO and Showtime. I think with network television, I think you got to be more casualish, more casual fool. Like, you got to cater to the casual fans. That sounds better. You know, I thought I got to rewatch it. I was real penciled in on the broadcast, you know, but I don't know if you guys picked up on this, but you notice how they showed how clean Jermell Charlo was in the picture. It was his old haircut. I don't know if he had tattoos, but it was a clean version of Jermell Charlo. It wasn't like Lion. It wasn't the Lions only Jermell Charlo. It was the Jermell Charlo in between the. Remember when he had cornrows and that? It wasn't. It wasn't that. So they want the clean version of boxing. I definitely picked up on that. He had like a little flat top or something like that. I remember that Jermell Charlo. So me and Tyron had a great conversation about Jermell Charlo. I'm not going to talk about that. Maybe Tyron and I can talk about that tomorrow since y'all love him so much. And maybe I'll go live tomorrow. I wanted to go live tonight, but it's Saturday night. And I'm in these streets a little bit, so I'm about to get to my destination in a bit. And but that's my breakdown of it. I had Charlo winning. Effective aggression. And those last 3 or 4 rounds, I thought Harrison was in survival mode. Like, I literally thought he was in survival mode. And I knew Charlo wasn't landing, as I said, I knew he wasn't landing those punches. I knew. But I just thought his aggression, you know, like, I'm going to rewatch the fight. And I'm definitely going to rescore the fight. I feel bad for Derek James. I really respect him. I definitely have a great deal of respect for Derek James. And we'll see. Mikey Garcia, I would love to get her. I would have loved to watch this fight with Mikey Garcia. You know, I told you he was going to do that. I told you know how to beat him with angles. Counter him with the jab. We'll see. Barbershop Conversations, man. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. And I'll talk to you guys real soon. Appreciate y'all. I'll holler.